Stardust, Chapter 15, Part 2. It was taking more and more of Twilight's willpower not to hide under the table with the degree of attention Shoji Zhang was levying against her. Why doesn't he say anything? The look on the newcomer's face was something between shock and wide-eyed horror, and the longer it went on, the more uncomfortable she felt. Perhaps you can take a quick break from testing all that junk and try a new card game? Lana said with a winning grin as she produced her deck of cards, and Twilight thanked her lucky stars for that. It's a three-person game I would play back home. Since Shoji hasn't played it yet and he looks like he needs some time to recover from introductions, how about Twilight? Matt, I'll play the first game, then he can decide if he wants to join us. Good, yes! Twilight blurted it out in English, happy with any excuse to get off that focus from her. She tapped her telekinesis and straightened up the table in a small tornado of boxes and bits of metal before hopping off her chair. Twilight, what? Joel started to ask, but Twilight cut him off. Oh, don't worry. I reboxed all the samples in the boxes that they came from the stacked ones we've already tested near the door, while the untested samples are stacked by the table. I'll go and get things set up. And another burst of magical power teleported Twilight into her habitat, where she gave the entire room a quick once-over to confirm that everything was neat and in order before she realized her mistake. Wait, I didn't speak English to Joel! Bad Twilight. You get in a hurry and you make mistakes. Before she could berate herself any further, the door opened and her friends walked in, followed by a very stunning-looking Zhang. His eyes swept the room and widened further when he reached her growing wall of art. Rather than dwell on the newcomer's actions, Twilight teleported herself into her favorite chair, and looked to Lana and dredged up what she could in English. So, what is the game? She managed to ask. It's a game called Traps, Lana said with a smile, and she deliberately took the seat across from Twilight. Which means Matt has to sit next to me. The only empty seats are to my left and right. Twilight realized, and Lana's smile turned into a grin, as she no doubt understood that Twilight had come to that exact conclusion. I would so banish you to the moon right now. To the moon! Okay, so unlike previous games, this is about speed and reaction time, and the rules are simple. We divide the deck into thirds and we start throwing cards down by going counterclockwise. You alternate colors, red and black. Suits, they don't matter. Lana explained as she began to shuffle the deck. Matt took his seat to Twilight's left before asking, so you start with red, then I have to throw down a black card, and then Twilight is red, then you're black, then I'm red, and so on? Sounds simple enough. Ah, yes, but there is a catch, Lana corrected. If you don't have the color you need, you have to pick up the entire stack. If you put down the wrong color, you pick up the stack. If you hesitate too long, you pick up the stack. And here's the tricky part. If two cards of the same number are dropped in a row, the order of our turns is reversed. So, let's just say this. You throw down a 6, then Twilight throws down a 6, then I throw down any card. I have to pick up the stack because it wasn't my turn. And if you didn't catch the 2 6s and don't place a card, you have to pick up the stack. So, does it sound good? Well, sounds good, Twilight agreed, again forcing herself to use English. Her eyes watched the cards as they flew out of Lana's hands in sequence until all the cards were divided. Alright, let's go. 11:30 a.m., April 30th, 2015, Stardust Labs. Tap, 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 tap. Son of a bitch, Lana grumbled as she then jumped the gun and threw a card down after a pair of 2s. She collected her new stack of cards and the play resumed. Tap, 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 tap. Crap! This time it was Matt who grumbled due to similar circumstances. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, I win! Twilight cheered as her last card hit the table, leaving a stunned Matt and Lana holding the rest of her deck. Well, crap, Lana said with a huff. I was hoping to get at least one win out of this, but it seems it was not meant to be. She looked over to Zhang, who had been hovering near the door while observing their game. Hey, Zhang, do you want to be cut into a game of Liar's Cards? It'll be fun! Trust me. Zhang didn't immediately answer. Due to the course of the game of Traps, he had slowly walked the length of Twilight's room to scrutinize every one of her drawings before moving to lurk near the door as he watched the furious card game reach its inevitable conclusion. With Lana, Jenkins, and Twilight all looking rather expectantly towards him, he finally relented and stepped forward. The moment he started moving, Lana scrambled over to the other chair beside Twilight, leaving the only vacant spot where she had been. Zhang raised an eyebrow at her sudden seating change, but didn't really raise the question. This Liar's Cards, is this the same game we played a couple of days ago? Yes? Indeed it is, good sir, and everyone here knows the rules, but I'll let you in on a little secret. Lana leaned forward and grinned. Twilight cheats. What? What? No, no, I don't cheat. Twilight objected in a somewhat broken English manner. It seemed that whenever she conscientiously attempted to use English, the translation spell didn't make an effort to convert the meaning, which led to some very hilarious discussions until the unicorn got fed up and started speaking in her own language and then thus resuming translation. It's true, she does count cards, Matt said with a grin, and Twilight whipped out to give him a little pout. So basically, the secret is just to, cheat a little more. I was under the impression that this game was all about cheating and not getting caught, Zhang said tentatively, and his eyes remained glued to Twilight as though she was some sort of, a monster that might jump over the table and attempt to eat his face. That's exactly it! Lena grinned and gave a thumbs up to Zhang. It's not cheating unless you get caught. Her hands became a blur as she dealt the cards to the 4 players. Since this is a conversation game, why don't we choose an easy topic? What was school like for you? All of you. Also, 1 ace. She dropped a card and looked to Zhang. School was typical. Nothing unusual at all. 2 twos. Zhang said slowly as he dropped a pair of cards on the table. 1-3. Matt started, though his answer came after a moment's hesitation at Zhang's non-answer. I had the pleasure of growing up in the Midwest with absolutely nothing to do except get drunk and high in trouble. When the Army recruiters came around, he actually smiled and patted me on the back when I told him that I didn't have a criminal record for alcohol, drugs, or grand theft. Wait, grand theft? What's there to steal in the Midwest? Lena asked with an arched eyebrow. Well, farmers would leave their tractors in the fields a lot of the time, and the troublemakers I grew up with thought it was quite a thrill to, steal them. Matt elaborated, and upon seeing Lana's screwed-up expression, he continued. Hey, don't ask me to explain what the meatheads were thinking. It was the Midwest. There was nothing else to do. 1-4, Twilight declared in English the moment Matt finished. School is fun. I'm so good at school. And what about your school friends? Matt asked after spotting the pattern of discussion being broken. The unicorn's expression became strained just a bit before she added. I didn't have school friends. Too much studying to do. I had a family, Cadence too. That was enough. 2 5s? Lana dropped the cards on the table to save Twilight from having to discuss any further. I was all kinds of trouble in school, though only for my brothers. Had to keep them all in line and really out of trouble. Plus, no one really bothered me too much because they knew my rowdy mob would tear them to pieces if they caused any trouble to Big Sis. 1-6. And I wasn't aware of your family's situation, Zhang added as he opened up just a little bit. I was an only child, so things were rather quiet back home. 1-7. I had to deal with a sister, though she was a lot of trouble. Of course, once she started growing up, she realized that she needed her big brother to scare off unwanted attention. I never had so much fun in my life when I'd come home on leave just to hunt down and give a stern lecture to the boys who just wouldn't take no for an answer. Matt's smile became somewhat sanguine. I can be quite intimidating, if I want to be. Twilight was in the process of dropping her card when Lana hijacked the conversation. Wait, so you mentioned you had a big brother, Twilight? When the unicorn nodded, the female soldier grinned. So, did you ever need him to chase off any ill-mannered colts who decided to pursue you beyond what was considered, socially acceptable? No, came the flat reply, followed by an equally flat glare from Twilight, though she was blushing slightly. I don't know where you're going with this, but I don't like it, the look said. Well, too bad, Lena's smile replied. So, he had to chase off ill-mannered mares instead. And just like a switch being flipped, Lana's words were cut off. She kept talking, but no further sounds could be heard. Thank you, Twilight, Matt said with a theatrically exaggerated sigh while unintentionally using her nickname. I just wish you were around all the time so you could do that whenever she opens her mouth. Twilight's response was to hide her face behind the cards and wait for Zhang to speak next. 1 p.m., April 30th, 2015, Stardust Labs. Twilight let out a sigh of relief as Matt, Zhang, and most importantly, Lana left her habitat. One of these days, straight to the moon, Lana, Twilight thought, and her sigh became a huff. Still... Lana had given Twilight a lot to think about, and in between testing, Twilight coincidentally had a lot of time to think. Every time Lana talked, she poked at those thoughts and made Twilight think even more. It was horribly embarrassing every time, but she always felt a little better afterwards. Twilight's good moon was interrupted when the door opened to reveal Joel, walking in with her English language tablet under one arm and a smile on his face. Hey, I've got something special for you, Twilight. We were actually waiting until your English proficiency was high enough, and we've agreed that now it's the perfect time. Oh, wait, is it a book? I'm afraid I still need to finish the book Charles gave me, though. Oh, this is like a book, Joel said with a smile as he flipped the tablet out from under his arm and turned it on. The familiar image on the tablet's desktop appeared, as well as some new icons that she'd never really seen before. We've updated the tablet with a limited connection to something we call the Internet. The Internet is a place where just about any information can be found. Twilight must have betrayed her excitement at the prospect, so Joel smiled and continued. Now, don't get your hopes up too much. As I said, there are significant restrictions in place. The Internet is a place filled with information, but not all information is meant for everyone. If you do come across something that tells you you can't be access to it, then I'd recommend you ask one of us about it, or move on to another subject, okay? I suppose that's understandable, Twilight agreed after a long moment. So, how do I use it? Warning. Access to this file is restricted to personnel with top secret clearance or above. Attempts to access this file without authorization will be reviewed and be grounds for termination and or prosecution. Distribution of this file may only be done with authorization from CMDR. David Bradford failure to provide authorization will result in termination and or prosecution. Personal notes. Dr. Kim No. The resources provided for Twilight's language learning program we've provided at the behest of Dr. Shen in order to placate Twilight, though I admit I was extremely curious as to her capacity for learning a new language from an entirely new world. When it became apparent that her interest in our language is more than just a polite gesture and an actual serious attempt, further plans were made to accommodate this hunger for knowledge. I pitched the idea of limited internet access for Twilight to Dr. Mills, and he agreed tentatively, pending Moira's approval. I was able to pitch the idea successfully to Dr. Valen by stating that we might learn more about Twilight based on what she researches when she thinks she isn't really being observed. Using that logic, Valen agreed and Twilight was given limited access to the internet. Below is the search history for April 30th. After consulting with Dr. Hagane, the following criteria were flagged as restricted: the harm and slaughter of quadrupeds, depictions of warfare and suffering, social and political issues, detailed explanations of technology, examination of military procedures, religious materials, historical matters that fulfill any of the previous criteria, sex. The following criteria were flagged as restricted per Dr. Valen's request: detailed maps and geography of the Earth, and search attempts to locate the solar system or other locations in the Milky Way. Edit. Just reviewed the surveillance footage of the time she was searching. The last text string was apparently input when she face-planted on the tablet. I mean, I can't say I blame the poor girl. End notes. Internet search history for Twilight Sparkle. April 30th, 2015. New search. Earth-Moon, Earth-Moon images, Earth-Moon landings, YouTube video footage of moon landings, bookmarked previous search results, space race, Sputnik, and Cold War, restricted topic. Search closed. New search. Earth star system, solar system, SOL, solar system planets, YouTube documentary on solar system creation, Milky Way, solar system location in Milky Way, search terminated, suspicious activity. Search closed. New search. Religions, Christianity, restricted topic. Christianity Devil, restricted topic. Christianity God, restricted topic. Popular depictions of the devil. YouTube audio of Charlie Daniels' Devil Went Down to Georgia. Deals with the Devil. Faust. Bookmarked previous search results. Bible, restricted topic. Search closed. New search. Invaders, restricted topic. Alien invaders, restricted topic. New search. Music. Good music. YouTube audio of Pachelbel's Canon in D. Bookmarked previous search results. YouTube audio of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Bookmarked previous search results. YouTube audio of Wagner's Flight of the Valkyries. Bookmarked previous search results. Fun music. YouTube audio of Super Affection. Bookmarked previous search results. Music genres. Music theater. Bookmarked previous search results. Search closed. New search. Magic. Popular depictions of magic. Harry Potter, aborted search. Magical creatures. Unicorn. Pegasus. Alicorn. Dragon. Earth pony. Ponies. Horse. Horse breeds. Famous horses. Search closed. New search. No search submitted, keylog enabled. Human relationships, deleted. 5.6 seconds idle. Human attract, deleted. 7.2 seconds idle. How to, deleted. 2 seconds idle. PJLOSDFOJPLE, deleted. Search closed. 11:55 p.m. April 30th, 2015. Situation room. David Bradford paced in front of the monitor as he waited for the council transmission. He wasn't a person who was prone to anxiety, but the events of this month would either make him or break him. Capturing an intact alien device, capturing a non-hostile alien that isn't affiliated with the invaders, several successful missions, relatively few casualties, and housing an alien within the base that resulted in a serious security breach with no meaningful breakthroughs to show for it. Bradford allowed himself a moment of weakness while in the privacy of the situation room as he grumbled and pinched the bridge of his nose. What's the worst that could happen? They could fire me? He thought sarcastically. More like stuffed in a cell for the duration of the war or a bullet to the head to make things easy. He stopped his pacing and turned to face the monitor as it turned on with a hum. The backlit silhouette of the council representative slowly came into focus, in the same position and posture he was always in, sitting ramrod straight in front of a desk with his hands clasped before him. Bradford knew what he was going to say before the words even left his mouth. "Good evening, Commander." The representative started with his instantly recognizable gravely tone. "The council has reviewed your performance, and thus far they are extremely impressed with your results, and that is not a comment that the council makes lightly. As such, additional assets and funding are being made available for you. Use them wisely." "Thank you, sir," Bradford said graciously, and he waited for the elephant to march into the room. "The council has also taken extreme interest in the subject of the Stardust project. Are these reports accurate?" "Yes, sir, they are." Bradford nodded before continuing. "The subject of the Stardust project was captured during Operation Hammerhead, and is a willing participant in the testing currently underway in Stardust." A long moment of silence passed as the council representative read something on his desk. "I also see that despite this willingness to cooperate, no breakthroughs have been made in unraveling the mechanics of its abilities. It also demonstrates new abilities at will, despite the research team's efforts to catalog its every capability with the soft approach." It took a significant amount of effort for Bradford to not grimace. "A blind and deaf man could tell me where this conversation is heading." "Yes, that is correct, sir. Due to the unprecedented nature of this creature, we felt it best to earn its cooperation with a gentle approach as opposed to our traditional methods. Testing is still ongoing that may lead to a breakthrough on replicating its abilities." The council representative remained respectfully silent as Bradford explained before he gave his orders. "The council understands and approves of the actions taken thus far with the subject, but it is also felt the more drastic measures need to be taken. We also agree that this specimen is far too valuable to undergo an interrogation by Dr. Valen. A special holding facility has been prepared in the Argentina facility that can resist the amount of force this subject can project, and experts are being acquired to question this subject more thoroughly while leaving little lasting physical damage. As always, we respect your authority in this matter. If you feel the approach and measures currently in place are sufficient, then we will support that decision. If you feel no more meaningful discoveries can be made or discoveries are not apparent in the future, we strongly encourage you to take this option." "I understand. I will need to consult with the research team for their opinions," Bradford replied after choosing his words carefully enough not to paint himself into a corner. "Good luck, Commander, and remember, we'll always be watching."